Final question. Is there anything that you may want to confess tonight before you go in?
I keep everything right here.
There you go.
Or right here.
The moment the heavy oak door swung open and Capricorn Clark stepped into the courtroom, you could almost hear a collective gasp. Here was the woman who had spent nearly a decade at P. Diddy's side, 2004 through 2012, suddenly transformed from invisible assistant into star witness. As she adjusted to the glare of the lights and the hushed murmurs of the gallery, one question pulsed through every mind. What secrets did she carry? What would happen when the world learned that the man they'd long idolized had once barged into her apartment, gun in hand, and ordered her to get dressed, we're going to him. And so begins our journey deep into the heart of Diddy's most explosive trial yet. A trial that threatens not only to upend a legend, but to expose an entire web of violence, intimidation, and possible cover-ups. Stay with me, because by the end of this story, you won't just be asking who P. Diddy really is, you'll be questioning everything you thought you knew. Capricorn Clark arrived in 2004 as just another hopeful young assistant. But in less than a year, she'd become indispensable to the man the world knew as P. Diddy. She managed calendars, booked private jets, coordinated celebrity appearances, and witnessed moments no outsider could imagine. From VIP backstage brawls to whispered threats in late-night conference rooms, she saw it all. Yet nothing prepared her for the day her boss crossed the ultimate line. When she took the stand this week, she wasn't just another face in the witness box. She was the linchpin of the prosecution's case. In hushed tones, she described being summoned in the dead of night. A gun pressed against her door. "Get dressed," he said. She obeyed, her heart pounding, knowing full well what he had in mind. Right there, in that moment, the story of P. Diddy morphed from chart-topping hits and fashion empires into something much darker. A man capable of dragging his assistant into a premeditated murder plot. If you thought you knew the story, think again, because what follows makes even the most hardened jurors sit up and take notice. Imagine you're curled up on your couch at 11:30 p.m., the only sound the hum of distant traffic. Suddenly, a knock so forceful it rattles the frame. You peer through the peephole and there he is, your boss, sweatpants torn at the seam, exposing boxer briefs, eyes wild with rage, finger curled around a pistol's trigger. Capricorn's voice quivered as she described it. He said, "Why didn't you tell me?" Then he demanded, "Get dressed. We're going to kill him." There was no turning back. Within minutes, she was clambering into a sleek black SUV, sitting beside a man who had once trusted her implicitly, now a cold-blooded gunman bent on vengeance. But this wasn't some spontaneous, rage-fueled shooting. This was meticulously planned. Every detail, the timing, the disguise, the silent drive through LA's empty streets, painted the portrait of a man who believed he was untouchable. And that, my friends, was only the beginning. When the SUV rolled to a stop outside Kid Cudie's gated home, Capricorn steeled herself. Through tinted windows, she watched him slip out, gun in hand, and slip through the unlocked side gate. Inside, chaos awaited. She later recounted how P. Diddy rifled through Christmas presents, surprised to find them already unwrapped. He locked Cudie's dog in a small room and repositioned security cameras as if rehearsing for a crime scene cleanup. Every action matched Kid Cudie's chilling testimony of that night. Presents strewn across the floor, cameras askew, the family pet tucked away in a closet.
He described seeing gifts that were unwrapped and that his dog was locked away in the bathroom. So he believed that someone had broken into his house, and he testified that he believed that person was Sean Combs.
Here was the template of a violent break-in, but worse. The suggestion of a deeper conspiracy, orchestrated not by a lone madman, but by a sprawling operation. When Capricorn returned to the car, her silence was deafening. She had just participated in one of the most brazen invasions in Hollywood lore, and the jury would soon learn every terrifying detail. If the break-in was the prologue, the beating of Cassie Ventura was Act 2, and the courtroom hung on every harrowing word. Capricorn described arriving at Diddy's home alongside a security guard, only to find Cassie on her knees. Diddy, clad in a robe and nothing else, launched into a flurry of kicks so violent that witnesses later said they sounded like thunderclaps in a quiet room. Clark froze as Diddy shouted obscenities, his face twisted with betrayal and fury. She and the guard stood by, helpless, threatened. She whirled away only when ordered, dialing Cassie's mother, Regina, on a burner phone. "Please help her," she whispered, voice cracking. "I can't call the police." Regina's promise to intervene would become a crucial moment. Proof that while Diddy ruled with fear, there were those ready to fight back. Yet for Clark, the incident marked a turning point. She realized that loyalty to a superstar paled in comparison to her own safety. The beating exposed something more insidious than domestic violence. It showed a man ready to destroy anyone who crossed him, and a network of enablers who stood silent. Most of us complain when work runs late. Capricorn had 4 hours of sleep before a 20-hour shift. 18, 19, 20 hours straight, no meal breaks, scant rest, and a salary of $65,000. It sounds like a dream come true, until you realize it meant 7 days a week, living under the thumb of a man who demanded absolute devotion. Then came the shove. After months of silent suffering, she dared to tell him she hated working there. His response? He charged at her, hands open, shoving her so hard she flew an estimated 25 yards, the distance of a third of a football field. Security intervened. She stormed out and quit on the spot. In a late-night conversation with HR, she learned Diddy had been ordered to pay her $80,000 for unpaid overtime. But when the memo was delivered, a crisp, written notification, Diddy shredded it in front of her. No paycheck, no justice. This wasn't a superstar's side hustle. It was indentured servitude dressed up as glam. Perhaps the most surreal chapter in her saga involved the infamous freak-offs. Lavish parties where baby oil, designer lube, and high-end camera gear came together for scenes that skirted the edge of legality. Capricorn stocked the sets, clothes, cameras, and even prescription drugs like ecstasy and Molly. She watched Diddy indulge openly, unaware that every moment was a brick in the prosecution's case. Then came the diamond jewelry incident. A single necklace disappeared, and suddenly Diddy's calm veneer snapped. Uncle Paulie, his loyal bodyguard, arrived at her apartment one night, hauling her to an abandoned skyscraper at 1710 Broadway. For 5 days, she endured grilling and polygraphs. Failure meant a one-way ticket to the East River. She passed, but the memory of that threat lingered like a specter. The promise of a watery grave for anyone who jeopardized the empire. All of it, the freak-off supplies, the drug use, the East River ultimatum, points to one inescapable truth. This was no isolated abuse. It was a systematic campaign to control, intimidate, and silence. So where does Capricorn Clark's testimony leave us? On one hand, her account aligns perfectly with Cassie Ventura and Kid Cudi, corroborating two of the prosecution's star witnesses. It lays the groundwork for a RICO case, suggesting Diddy wasn't acting alone, but as part of a criminal enterprise with staffers ready to facilitate his every violent whim. Yet the defense pounces on credibility gaps. A shove of 25 yards seems hyperbolic. Endless overnight interrogations strain belief, and a superstar's assistant working 20-hour days feels more cinematic than real. Former prosecutors warn jurors not to throw the baby out with the bathwater. Dissect the details, they say, but don't ignore the chilling consistency across multiple testimonies. And then there's the cover-up theory, that behind this media circus lies an even bigger scandal. Secret tapes of powerful figures, blackmail rings reaching into politics and entertainment, and evidence the public will never see. Is this trial about one man's crimes or about protecting an entire network? Only time and the jury's verdict will tell. But one thing is clear. After Capricorn Clark's testimony, the world will never again see P. Diddy the same way. What do you think? Did Capricorn's revelations break the RICO case wide open? Or will doubt and sensational claims keep this trial from exposing the full truth? Drop your thoughts below, and don't forget to subscribe for the next update in this jaw-dropping saga.